Good morning, scholars. I'm really excited to get to do this virtual video for you. Sorry we couldn't be virtual face-to-face, but I'm going to try my best to get you through today's objective and get you psyched and excited to get through your problem set and your exit ticket for the first time in 5th grade. Today's objective is to represent mixed numbers with units of tens, ones, and tenths with place value disc, expanded form, and number lines. Lucky for you, we've been working really hard on trying to represent our mixed numbers with place value disc and an expanded form. So today I'm just going to review what that looks like with place value disc and expanded form. And then I'm going to add that one more thing for us to learn, which is utilizing our number lines to do the same thing. Here we go. First things first, I'm actually going to bring up a whiteboard and I'm going to try my best to show you guys and remind you what it looks like when we were representing these mixed units in place value disc. Remember, when we see these discs, most cases when we're trying to represent it, we may either see it already pre-drawn or we may have to draw it ourselves. Right here, they're drawn for us. So my first step is to count all. I'm going to count all these place value discs to see what number it gives me. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10, 11/10, 12/10, 13/10, 14/10, 15, 16/10, 17/10, 18/10, 19/10, 20/10, 21/10. Now, the second step, remember we spoke 21/10 actually gives us, when we say it, it gives us an idea about what the fraction may look like. So I'm going to write that first. 21/10. I remember really specifically last year that this was an improper fraction. This improper fraction lets me know that there are wholes inside of this fraction. It's more than one, okay? What I'm going to do first is thinking about how many tenths I've already counted. Here, I first counted 10 tenths. That let me know that there were a group that I can bundle together and make one whole. I'm going to show that in part of a number bond. 10 tenths. But I know I'm not done because there was some more. Here, if I look, there was another group of 10 tenths. I'm going to show that on my number bond as well. Ten tenths. That gives me, 10 and 10 gives me 20 tenths, but there was one more. So I'm going to write that as well. Here, I've broken down the 21 tenths into 10 tenths, 10 tenths, and 1/10. I can represent that now as a mixed number. Remember, we said that these groups that were represented by the place value disc shows that I have two groups, or 10 tenths. Here, which gives me a whole number of 2. The only thing that I have left is that 1/10. So I'm going to write it. 2 and 1/10. Now I remember that what it looks like as a fraction. However, we are totally focused on representing these place value disc, and the final thing that we have to do to represent these place value discs is put it in decimal form. So I'm going to write 2 and 1/10. If my memory serves me correct, the ones place is the first value to the left of the place of the decimal. So that's where I'm going to write my 2. And the tenths place is one space unit next to the decimal point, and that's where I'm going to represent my 1/10. Here, I've now figured out how to represent not just the units, the mixed units in place value disc, but show it in the fraction. that showed it in a fraction and got me to show a mixed number, which ultimately helped me turn it into a decimal. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is this whiteboard. Show what it looked like when we represented these mixed numbers or mixed units in our, sorry, I'm looking it up, guys. Give me a second. We were representing, hopefully you got your paper and pencil already ready, and you are now fine to go to your next clean side or another piece of paper to get us to the next thing. So we represent it in expanded form. A lot of you guys did a really good job with this, but we want to review just one more time to make sure we got it. Okay, here we have mixed numbers. Remember, expanded form is a way for us to represent the same number by breaking or showing the units that we have composed in this mixed number. Of course, if we're talking about units, we're talking specifically about our tens, our ones, and our tenths. I'm going to show you what these two look like as an example. 55 and 9/10. I'm going to start with my tens place and move to the right. How many tens do I have? 5 tens. You guys are absolutely right. So I'm going to write that as 5 times 10 because it's in the tens place. I'm going to put the plus sign because remember, our math and our language, sometimes it means and we know that we have more units to show. So not only this tens place, but this ones place. How many ones do we have? You're right. We have 5 ones. So I'm going to represent that by writing 5 times 1. Last, we have 9/10. Now remember, it's a fraction, but that multiplication looks exactly the same. And remember what I said in class last week. I said that when we are multiplying our tenths or fractions, it's just the same as multiplying those whole numbers. It's like making copies, okay? So in this case, we would have 9 copies of 1/10, which would translate or show in our expanded form as 9 times 1/10. Awesome. Now, we're going to represent this one in the same way. Now, I do notice that this number is 378 and 8/10. Okay, cool. I think I know what to do. I have to expand these units to show the hundreds, tens, ones, and tenths. In order for me to do that, just like I did on our first example, I have to look at the number or the value in the units place. So how many hundreds do we have? 3. I'm going to write that. 3 times 100. Awesome. How many tens do I have or are represented in this number? 7. So and 7 times 10. Great. Now we have to show the ones. How many ones? 8 ones. 8 times 1. And last but not least, we have tenths. How many tenths do we have? 8/10. So again, I'm going to write 8, but this time I'm going to write times 1/10. Awesome job, you guys. Now, you will get a chance to practice on your own in your problem set, but this is really one of the most simple, most efficient ways to represent these mixed units, okay? Once we've gotten this far, there's still one more thing we need to do. We need to show that we can represent these numbers in decimal form. So I'm going to go back to this 55 and 9/10. Now, all I'm going to do is rewrite the answer, and the last part I'm going to do is show that tenths as a decimal. So I'm going to put it back together, but I'm going to make sure it shows a decimal this time. What is 5 times 10? It is 50. What's 5 times 1? 5. What's 9 times 1/10? 9/10. And remember, the tenths is represented by that first space next to the decimal point. So I have that here, 0.9 or 9/10. If I put that all together, I will ultimately have 55 and 9/10. Way to go, Mr. Wise. You can't see it, but I'm sending myself some shine. All right, same thing here with 378 and 8/10. I now have to put it all together. 300. And ultimately, guys, let me just give you this heads up. The best practice is to write the expanded form right next to each other. One parentheses next to each other, next to the other, next to the other. In this particular case, Mr. Wise ran out of space, so I had to put my rest of my parentheses down here. It's best practice to do it like this. Now, I'm just letting you guys know so that if you get caught up with where you don't have space on a piece of paper or something, just know that it should look like this, okay? 7 times 10 is 70. 8 times 1 is 8. And now I have to change this 8 times 1/10 as a decimal. So I put my decimal point and I put my 8. When I put it all together, I will get 378.8 or 378 and 8/10. Whew. That's a lot. It feels like a lot of steps, but you know what? When you get really good at it, like I said earlier, it would be a really efficient way to show or represent these mixed numbers as decimals. Okay, or these mixed units as decimals. So we're going on to the last thing. It's actually kind of one of my favorite things to do because in our problem set and our exit ticket, they give you a chance to kind of put it all together. And what I mean by put it all together is when you have a chance to use a number line, you'll see that the number line it's in a strategy that may take some time if you were to use it on a test, but if you needed to double check your work, the number line would be a great way to do it. All right. So on this whiteboard is an example from our problem set. Okay. Here, they have broken down this chart into the number line strategy, what it looks like in decimal form, what it looks like as a mixed number, what it looks like in expanded form, and how much to get to the next one. And by the next one, it means the next whole number. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on letter A, and I'm going to show by example exactly what it means. Okay. First things first, if you guys go down here below your whiteboards, if you're in your practice, you'll have like a size and just to let you know how big your pencil is when you write. And I'm going to make it as small as possible down to the 1 point so that I can fit my writing inside of this practice. Okay, just a little heads up when we get back to class and you get to use your own whiteboard. All right, so it's like fill in the blank. And I got to be a really good math detective to kind of figure out what I have to do next, right? Remember, these are all strategies that you have when you use to represent these mixed numbers, mixed units. So it's best practice with this type part of our problem set to really understand or show your knowledge, right? Show what you know in the different strategies. So I'm looking here, the 4 and 6/10 is already filled in. Now, there's really no right way to do this for you. So if I do it this way, this doesn't mean that's the way that you do it for the rest of the examples, because if you look closely at the other examples, other parts of the chart are filled out, right? Not every one of them is filled by the next number, and you got to figure out the rest. Some, like letter C, the expanded form is filled in, so you have to kind of figure out what comes next or what may come next. All right, this is the fun investigative part. All right, now here's what I'm going to do. I'm looking at 4 6/10. I'm really good at looking at a fraction and just remembering how it looks at a decimal. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go back to the section where it says decimal form and write 4 6/10 in that box. Okay, cool. I think I remember, just based on this mixed number, I can utilize that for this expanded form. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to, since I didn't know about the number line, I am going to teach you guys. But because I know that this expanded form we've already practiced, I'm going to fill that in, right? We've done a lot of practice with that. 4. Well, it's only ones place, so I know I have to multiply 4 times 1. And the only other unit is the tenths. So I'm going to put that together. 6 times 1/10. All right, I think I figured it out. The only thing left is the number line. And if you notice, it's not filled in. What do I know about number lines? They show points in between, right? What I'm going to have to do is figure out where 4.6 or 4 6/10 would be on this number line. The first thing I have to remember, if I remember number lines and I first started doing between whole numbers, I have to look and think what comes first and what comes next. Here we're 4 6/10. Is 4 6/10 greater than or less than 4? Yep, it's greater than 4. So I know I need to start at 4, right? Excellent job, excellent job. Now, is 4 6/10 greater than or less than 5? Yeah, it is less than 5. So my ending point should be 5. So I know that 4 6/10 is somewhere in between this line. Luckily for us, we've already had it decomposed on the line by tenths. I'm going to count it. Look, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. And that, of course, that 10/10 should be on the next whole number, right? Just like we connected, 10/10 is a whole. All right. Now, if I know that I'm at 4 and I need to also represent 6/10, all I have to do is count 6 more tenths. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. And I'm going to make a little mark. It's not perfect, but I'm going to make a little mark. All right. And we've now shown what 4 6/10 looks like on the line. But we're not done. We have one more question, which is how much to get to the next one. This whole number is 5. That's the next one. So what I'm going to do is count by hopping over those decomposed lines to see how many hops I need to get to 5. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it was 4 hops, but it's not exactly 4 as a whole number, right? That wouldn't make sense because what we're doing is counting by tenths. So I'm going to recount that and recount it as tenths. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. Oh, that's easy. I know what it looks like. I'm going to write 0.4. Awesome, because it's 4/10 into the next whole number. Wow, you guys, I know you were really feeling it. I know that you were paying attention. This is our whole lesson. Now, you guys will get a chance to go and practice on your problem set. I just want to give you a heads up. It is our lesson 3 problem set. Mr. Wise has already put it on your Google Classroom. So when you get it, you will get these questions, like how many tenths in all. You will get also representation for expanded form. And you will also get that same chart to show off everything you know, not just with how to represent those mixed numbers as decimal points in expanded form and writing in decimal form, but what it would look like on the number line. What you should do is get a piece of paper, okay? Do the work on paper. Try your best to answer the questions. Some of these questions you will be able to type in below, and some of these questions, like the chart, you will need to upload the picture, okay? Now, Mr. Wise is going to reach out with a video just to kind of show you guys how to upload the picture. But here, even you see that that picture will be the same way on your Google Classroom, okay? And again, I'm going to show you. I've already posted it in your classwork. We have the problem set question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, and your exit ticket, all right? So when you guys go to your Google Classroom for math, you'll see that it's already there. Like I said, when you click on your assignments and you open it, there should be an assignment, part of the assignment that comes up that you will be able to upload your picture. And it will have a little icon, kind of like how we showed on the other part of our work, okay? Now, it looks kind of like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please reach out to Mr. Wise and ask any questions. You can text, you can send an email, and good luck. Talk to you next time.